now.
Hang on one sec. Oh,
Come on.
And he was waiting on me. He's probably working. All right, we are back with the Blame Girl podcast with
John, me?
Mr. Terry Wayne.
Oh,
hang
okay.
on one sec. Oh,
Come on.
And he was waiting on me. He's probably working. All right, we are back with the Blame Girl podcast. There you are.
Mr. Terry Wayne.
Okay, let's try this again. We're gonna be professionals one day, right, Terry? Welcome
One
back
day.
to the Blame Girl podcast with,
Mr. Terry Wayne.
and we got John Cadette in the house. Welcome, John.
Hi.
Jonathan, is it John or Jonathan? Because I always just called you John, but I was like, his name says Jonathan.
John Cadette works. I use John Cadette for comedy.
Are you Jon or John?
Jon.
Okay.
John with one H.
John, how was your weekend?
Great. I was in Orlando. Saw my family. Left my cat home alone. She didn't die, so that's good.
How many days?
Cats are fine.
On Thursday to Saturday night, I came back on the day
Yeah.
early.
I got one right here just for Halloween.
Hey, Boo. Its name is
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo?
Boo.
That's a perfect black
Boo.
cat's name
Hey,
on
Boo.
Halloween.
Boo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough of the pets.
All
All
right.
right. How? So
They're fine.
You just had family time this weekend. That's all you did.
Yeah, we went to Epcot. That was cool. Played golf. I'm a
Nice.
brown person that plays golf.
Yeah.
That's yeah. It's pretty fun.
So is Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Yeah, he broke barriers for us.
Terry, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Just went down to Clematis for some Halloween fun. And Halloween's way better on mushrooms, to be honest.
You took mushrooms for it?
Why wouldn't you?
All right.
Good question. I don't know.
Everybody's in costume. It was great. So,
Maybe if you don't have them, you know.
but we did more of an adult
Yeah,
Halloween. So we went to a nice restaurant, got some good food, good wine. Then you walk around with all the freaks. So
You walk amongst your people, right?
No,
my people.
You were the one on mushrooms.
Oh,
Down the bottom. You a
I
freak
consider
too?
mushrooms to be the most adult of all drugs.
You're a freak too. Okay, so y'all family time, Halloween time.
Mhm.
What did I do this weekend? I usually think about this before we come, but my days just go right on by. Friday I had a show at Grandview. It was pretty fun. We all dressed up.
What did you
And
dress up as?
I was Jessica Rabbit.
Ooh,
Yeah. And
titties out.
titties were out, but let me just say this. The red hair and my skin do not match. I did not like it. But
Little Mermaid
I've
vibes.
yeah, definitely a little. When I walked up, two of the other comics, Josh Francis and Matt Ross, were like, Little Mermaid. And I was like, y'all just too young to have seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Am I right?
Well,
Well,
I
that's
think the
right.
character, you say the hair didn't match your skin. I think the character and your cup size didn't match. That's what I think.
Oh, throwing shots at the
He
titties.
might be right. Like my titties are not. No, it wasn't that.
Have you seen Jessica Rabbit? She's like
No,
a
listen.
triple D.
The thing about so am I. Okay, but anyway,
No,
yeah, no, I am.
Gonna have to lower the camera.
you're a triple D.
Oh, I almost did.
You gotta prove it.
I'm a triple D.
Right.
But anyway, Jessica Rabbit's proportions are fucked up. And I made jokes about it. I was like, oh, I found everything I needed to go with this costume except the 1-inch waistline. Because her waistline's like that.
Yeah, she's like a broken
So-
Coke bottle.
She is why we have all these ladies getting big booty surgery. Because they want Jessica Rabbit proportions. That's what they're
Bring
going
back corsets. Let's just do that.
Oh.
Okay, tie them up. at the
and
waist.
make men wear them this time around. That's what I say. Okay, so that was Friday. Saturday, I went to a Halloween party at my girl Jackie's house. And that was about it.
They go to any Halloween parties this year. Nobody loves me. I also don't really.
You don't really hang out with the comics a lot, do you?
I really don't. No,
Yeah.
very much.
You're
a
very
hermit.
adult. You're very adult.
Kinda. Actually, I was going to ask. Do I get to ask questions?
No, it's our podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we are authoritarian around here.
What do you want to ask?
No, I want to know how you chose me. It feels kind of random. I don't really hang out with comics.
We
like you
did.
said, and I don't really,
We
hang
did
out
the
with
Danish
one
show
comic.
together.
What's up?
We did the Danish show together. That's where I
Yeah.
met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's it.
Terry's
So no.
in charge of booking, but yes, we tried to
I
get
got a
all
good
kinds
feeling
of-
about people.
Okay, cool. Well,
I'm gonna go with this. Terry was impressed with your set that night, and so he was,
We both were.
we talked
Mhm.
about it, huh? See, I
Mhm.
told.
thank you.
All right.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's good to
We
hear.
talked about
It was nice meeting you that night. I've seen you all over social. We just haven't crossed paths somehow. I don't know how that has happened.
Yeah.
I think
It's
you're
because
old.
I'm old and I
Because
don't
he
have to
hasn't come
mic
out. He's
anymore.
been doing this over a decade, so he's a little bit more off the scene, if you will. But anyway, are y'all ready to do some blaming?
Mhm.
All right, so this week we're starting with our great governor DeSantis.
Is that what he is? He's our governor?
Mhm.
Florida?
He's our governor, and his old law he's our governor, and his old law firm. They went from under $3,000 in government contracts
Yeah.
to millions of dollars in government contracts once he got into office. Who's to blame?
Coincidence? It sounds like a great coincidence.
You blame coincidence, huh?
Yeah, that's my hot take.
Are you a DeSantis fan? That's my next.
No, I'm not a fan of most or probably any politicians, really. Here's the thing. I don't know. I read the article. I was like, that sounds appropriate. That sounds like what exactly should happen especially between politicians and lawyers. I mean, I don't know where you get your moral compass
think-
from.
I
But
think
it's not
what you're
from
saying-
politicians
I think
and
what you're
lawyers.
saying is like, that's what we expect, right?
It's expected behavior from, yeah. I mean, nepotism's a dangerous thing, but it works. I mean, that's how I've gotten on a lot of
Nepotism.
shows. That's how I got on this podcast.
No,
It wasn't
no.
through
we
anything else other than, hey, I know that kid.
we only
Yeah,
book
that's
the
the one.
hottest talent in South Florida. No, I'm just kidding. We'll book anybody, but no shade.
No, we
Why do
book
you do that?
everybody. We try to get to everybody at least once.
But I don't know. I read the article. I thought that made perfect sense. And if I were in any position of power that could make a change to, I don't know.
Well,
vested
I noticed
interest.
that in the article it did, and if you're watching and you're like, we're talking about articles, follow us on social media. We definitely share links to our information that we are talking about. But in the
Or the
article,
BlameGirl.com.
yep, that's right. Go to BlameGirl.com. And there was one gentleman, Maros, who all the work went to. It wasn't to just his old law firm. It was to one particular attorney in that firm.
Some guy who could stay tight-lipped.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's how everything works.
I
That's how
know,
everything works.
and we know that, we've known that, but isn't it? We should try to break that system down. I think.
That system's
Do you
only getting worse.
Yeah, but do you think it's because there's like no accountability?
Maybe a little, but it's quite normalized now. I mean, Trump put his kids and his son-in-law and everybody else into the White House. So in high-ranking positions that are important, not to mention the rest of his ghouls. So that
And that's, I mean,
it's
been
just
like
becoming
that
more
before.
normalized.
Yeah, it's
like,
been
of
like that
course.
before, but they're just like blatantly doing it now. Because not only this, it's not just this incident, but
Yeah.
the incident where he flew the immigrants to Maryland, or I can't remember.
Yeah. Funny
He,
thing about that.
yeah, he paid some friend of his to do that, like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, there's a funny thing about that, and I'm glad you brought it up. Did you know that by sending those immigrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, he actually qualified every one of them for what's called a U visa, which is anytime you're the victim or participant in a crime, and you cooperate with police, you're automatically granted a visa if you're in a non-legal status. And because that sheriff in Texas charged him and said it was a crime, didn't charge him, but it has said it was a crime. Now those immigrants are working with the police and they've all received U visas. So they're all officially legal now. How fucking great is that?
Here in America, we love
The
snippets.
irony.
We love
You ain't gonna hear them talk about that on conservative radio. I'll tell you that.
And they got a free trip to Martha's Vineyard, which isn't bad. I would take that, you know.
Yeah, it's probably a lot nicer than Texas.
Well, the seafood's great.
And I said
So.
that. I'm a Texan, and I said that. So, would you say, Terry?
That was it. I said, oh, and the seafood there is great. That's all I said.
Yeah.
Not in
Well,
Texas, in Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Figure the Tex-Mex maybe. The seafood. It's along.
Oh yeah, along the Gulf Coast, it's not bad.
definitely. I've had some of the best.
Yeah.
It was this shrimp that just really resonated with me.
I mean, you're right next door to New Orleans.
I was in
So,
Corpus Christi, and there's this chain in Texas called Landry's Seafood. You might be familiar, and or Landry's. They have all kinds of food. So one of theirs is seafood, and it was like in the middle of the water, right? The restaurant was, and you're like feeling like they're pulling these shrimp up right from here,
Yeah.
and then they're serving them, and they were the best shrimp to date I've ever had. Some shrimp fettuccine.
Ooh.
It was my best.
Yeah. Fresh seafood apparently is where it's at. I was just in Cape. Well, I went to Epcot and then we went to Cape Canaveral
Hmm.
on the East Coast, and we were at this place and we had like fresh seafood. They're like, we only put stuff on the menu that we could catch today. So if you're eating
I
a
respect that.
fish sandwich, it was swimming this morning.
That's
know?
oh, you know, I respect
Yeah.
that, Gio.
Yeah. So
Oh,
You
that
can't
makes-
respect that. That's like
I had a grilled
The-
mahi or blackened mahi.
that's like the way of the world. Like that's how it should be,
Yeah,
right?
your food should be.
I only had that experience. Like I had this roommate, and we went out. We were in the Keys. They went out fishing. They brought fish
Ooh.
home. We made fish tacos.
Ooh.
But anyway, I don't even know how to transition to this next story. I've been trying to find an end, but I cannot. So I'm just gonna do it, y'all.
it's okay. Nobody likes your transitions.
Trans is the hot topic. I didn't know we were good.
The Chinese folks. The Chinese. First, they developed COVID. You know I'm fucking with you. Come on. And now they have developed robot dogs with guns.
Yeah, man.
Who's to blame? Y'all, they have robot dogs with guns. Does this not fucking freak y'all out? or what?
Look,
It's been the best episode of Black Mirror that I've seen thus far. Their season opener of 2020 was great, but this new gun stuff on robot dogs that's good.
And then
I
the
like
drone lets it like brings the dog and drops it. You don't even
Yeah.
have to.
It's
No human has to show up. And then it's just shooting a machine gun.
why are you surprised? We saw the robot dogs a number of years ago. They came out with those, and they're like, oh, the robot dogs. All throughout human history, literally since we emerged on the planet, every time a new piece of technology comes along, the first two things we figure out is A, how to kill each other with it, and B, how to get porn out of it. So it's fight it or fuck it. It's in our nature. It's just
Yeah,
in our
I don't
nature.
know why
That's what we
that
do.
makes you a robot dogs though. Because you can't fuck dogs, so you.
I mean, if you
Well,
did-
that's the beauty of it. That's a nice mixture because you can do both. So
Oh my god.
well, you never masturbated with a gun in your mouth before. I feel like
And a robot?
It's-
No. I have not.
exactly, just attach
Wow.
a flashlight
Why
to
did
it, and you're
unique ass
good.
orgasms over here.
Look, why did they choose dogs? Why did it have to be our lovable?
Because they were already made. Somebody here that I remember when it first came out, it was here, it was in the US. So of course they copied it and put a gun on it. Like,
They had Boston Dynamics had the backflipping dogs or whatever, and they're like, "Fuck it, strap an AK on that thing."
yeah.
Are they
And
going for world domination with these things?
China,
No.
they're not dominating anything. They can't even dominate a food supply to their people.
Ooh,
I don't think.
sick burn.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can't even figure out what to do with the vegans. So
Ooh,
Do
I think they're figuring it out in the worst way.
y'all think
Yeah.
everybody has robot dogs?
I think it's a dumb thing to even develop. I think it's just for clickbait. You know, they pumped a few million, strap a Gatling gun to it or whatever. Like
Yo, it
it's
looks
never
scary.
gonna
I
be.
don't know if y'all saw that video. Y'all should check it out.
I did, but it's not feasible. It's not a feasible weapon. In the age of drones, you know,
Yeah.
why would you need a robot dog?
You domesticated one. Would you buy one? What if they had one for your home that was like robot dog, like a Furby, just kind of like
Like
entertaining?
Astro,
but then,
like Astro from the
but then like
Jetsons.
it like dropped a Roomba and then it could sweep your floor and it could like grab you a beer.
That's like Jethro.
Yeah. Like
no,
you want a guard dog for your
Astro
house.
and the maid mixed together.
What if in the middle of the night there's a creak in the night, you know, and then now you have a dog that has a fucking rocket launcher on its back.
No, I don't
Yeah,
want that.
it's probably got
It's
sonar and all that shit in it.
I don't want that in my house.
You don't want that.
I don't want that.
Thermal vision. No, I wouldn't want it either, mainly for the reasons that Jonathan said. You know, people are too domesticated as it is. If we get one more piece of technology that allows us to be sitting on the couch instead of moving, I think we're all going to die. I mean, seriously.
No.
Like,
no.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, but right now you can say, right now you can wish for anything, and if you have a phone, you can have it the next day. Like, it's crazy. It's not natural.
Amazon to send you a pack of condoms, a Sprite, and I don't know, anything else your heart desires, and it'll be there by the end of the day. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's not good for you. So no, I don't need a dog to sweep my floor and bring me a beer.
I wonder,
sweeping the floors. I have a Roomba, okay? It is very useful. And I have a cat. So every time I clean out my Roomba, it's all cat fur that I would have left there for weeks.
I feel that. But I have a cat and dog, and it's a lot of hair.
If I had a Roomba with a gun, let's just add guns to everything.
Look, let me say this. If Paul Pelosi...
Yeah, that'll work out.
This is Florida.
I'm trying to transition and you interrupt me. Okay. If Paul Pelosi would have had a robot gun Roomba,
yeah,
he might not have been attacked last week, but he was.
Yeah.
And he was attacked by someone who appears to be a right-wing extremist.
Mm-hmm.
And the conservative response was so disingenuous. Who's to blame, guys?
I mean, it's hard to pretend to care about people that are clearly your adversary. Like, I don't know, you never had like an ex get in a car accident, you're like, oh no, that sucks. I mean, they're supposed to pretend to care about someone that they are on paper
they don't even have
absolutely
to
opposed to.
They don't have to don't pretend to care. Just don't say, but don't act like you're the party of law and order and fucking be like, he had that guy was an escort, because that's what I heard this morning conservatives saying about the attacker. So, he lived on a commune and they had Black Lives Matter signs and rainbow.
Oh, that's the same old, like, that's the same old fucking excuse. It's like the same thing with January 6th. Like, those were Antifa. Like, come on, man. At least own your shit. You know what I mean? Like, I would believe. Literally, I'd respect you
like
more.
It was his lover. Like,
I'd respect you more if you just owned it. You know what I mean? But we think the country's broken. We're storming the Capitol because we want to change it. I can at least respect that. I'm not going to agree with it or go along with it, but I can at least respect it, you know? But when you cower and you shrink back into the shadows, that's fucking pathetic.
How old was this attacker guy?
He was in his 40s, and Paul Pelosi's in his
80s. He's 80.
Nobody's talking about how a man in his 40s needed a hammer to attack a 84-year-old gentleman.
Oh no, he wasn't there. He wasn't there for Paul Pelosi. He was there for Nancy.
He was also
even worse. A woman, you still need a weapon.
He was in his underwear also.
Yeah.
The attacker or
the attacker?
The attacker was in his underwear.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No,
he was.
Nancy Pelosi. Oh my God! But he.
Well, this is what happens.
It's crazy.
I mean,
this is what happens when you
buy a gun. Thank God, you know.
When you get these people that are already a little, you know, unstable, and then they have all these conspiracy theories, and you don't denounce them. by not denouncing them, it's like a tacit affirmation to it, and saying, well, they like me and whatnot. That's real easy, but you're basically subconsciously signaling to them, like, yeah, you're right. Go ahead and do something about it.
I wanted to go through some of these
Oh.
these comments that they made. Some of the conservative commenters. Mitch McConnell was quick to respond after news broke, saying he was horrified and disgusted, which is fine. Like I bet he really was, because I bet they're really boozing in real life, because we know how it all works. But then Pence also came out strongly against it. He said it was an outrage. Trump remained silent. Okay.
Of course.
And then
That's that tacit authorization is what I was saying.
And then you go into the crazies, right? You get into Rand Paul, who's like, he started off okay. He's like, he said it was really bad, but then he goes into how her daughter didn't treat him the same way when he was attacked. Okay, he made it about him. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed it on Joe Biden. So
with
that's stupid. That's the dumbest one I've heard so far.
I feel like they highlighted a lot of the social media responses, and there's a lot of expectations of you have to respond on your social media. How valuable do you personally care about a fucking Twitter post about essentially thoughts and prayers to whatever it is? Like, how valuable is that? Is it just,
I'll
to
tell
me,
you
it means
this,
less than
it
nothing.
means really nothing unless it's genuine. And like, if you're sitting out here like a Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's bad, but then blames it on Biden, and also you incite this type of violence towards these people on the January 6th, you were there and you wanted those people there who wanted to go after Nancy Pelosi, who wanted to go after Mike Pence, who wanted to go after certain people there and kill them. So they incite this, they like support, like silence sometimes is violence. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, I could agree with. I remember there was at one point, Trump had to send a tweet during the January 6th stuff. He was like, "Hey, yo, like fucking go home" or something. And then a lot of people did dissipate after that. But when something has already happened, how much does it matter to say, "Hey, don't"?
Well, that's a bad example because he was about 6 hours too late on that.
Well, also very true.
Yeah, like he could have stopped that before they broke it in. I mean, come on, he did that. Like that was his thing.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this. He wanted to be there. The Secret Service wouldn't let him. He wanted to lead the charge. And he's on tape with Bob Woodward admitting that he knows he lost the election, but he just didn't want to admit defeat because it doesn't work for his brand. That's all it is. Right. He's a winner. If he gets defeated, his brand suffers, and he's not going to let that happen.
But in general, does it make any difference when a celebrity or someone tweets something after like a tragedy to say, "Oh,
well, not a celebrity,
but our congressman,
but a politician, yes.
I feel like you want them to be empathetic. Yeah.
Well, it's not even empathetic. You just
no, I think it is. If you're not empathetic, I don't even want you in office.
No, you just
you
it's
can't
not
be
even
like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that fucking happened to you."
It's again, it's not about being apathetic. It's about publicly denouncing it.
I said empathetic.
It's about saying publicly, this is not what we want. Because again, when you have a ravenous fan base that is willing to do anything, like you have to tell them publicly, like, no, not this far,
Yeah, like you've gone too far. And I think that he's right. But it's not the people that need to be saying it that's saying it. Like Donald Trump would need to say it, or I would even go so far as like an Alex Jones, but we'll never get that,
Yeah,
so,
wow.
But with all that said, all these people that can do all this can say whatever they want to say that have been pulled off of Twitter can now go back. You know why? Because Elon Musk finally bought Twitter and it is in fucking chaos. People getting fired. all these people coming back on, they're dropping N-bombs all over the place. Who's to blame, guys?
I gotta say, watching you figure out your transition has been my favorite part. So
Fuck you.
no, that was good. We were talking about Twitter. It was seamless. It was seamless.
Thank you.
But I saw it happening. I'm staying behind the curtain. Elon Musk owning Twitter or buying Twitter and then firing a bunch of people. I don't know why he has to fire a bunch of people, but
Like,
I don't know.
he fired like the CEO, the
I don't really
CFO.
fuck with Twitter. I think I kind of missed the boat on Twitter. Do you
You're
have
like,
a
I don't
Twitter- do you
even
have
give
an
a damn.
active
Yeah, no, I have a
Twitter account that
Twitter.
you check. I
I don't check it. No one tweets me back anymore. Like, I
do you follow news on Twitter?
no,
No.
I don't.
Terry?
I
Well,
don't even. Twitter.
Twitter's not for us. Twitter's not for regular people. Twitter has become this thing where it's only if you're a celebrity, a politician, or you have a blue check next to your name, then it's only there for you to basically make statements to the media, then take your tweet and report on it. It's like a press conference app. That's all it is.
It's interesting that you said that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I've had Twitter for, I don't know, 12, 13, I mean, since it's been around.
Yeah. Same.
I
I
barely
remember when
have
I like,
ever
got a
used
little
it.
popular on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, back in the beginning days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not that
but
I got millions of followers. I just had like a few thousand.
Twitter is just there for them. That's it. It's their little soapbox app where they can go on and say what they want to.
So why
Or
do you,
ruin their careers like Kanye.
who's to blame for it being in chaos? Is it Elon? Is it the firings? Is it because
No,
the
it's
man-
us. It's us. Twitter is nothing but a reflection of the society we have created. That's it. And nobody these days actually, I mean, Kanye was the only one that actually got on Twitter and said what he actually thought. And look what happened to that guy. The rest of it's just, you're either virtue signaling for one side or the other,
Yeah.
It's either.
I was gonna say the only major change that I know Elon Musk is trying to do is trying to remove a bunch of bots. Like he said, like 30% of the accounts are bots, and try to take away censorship. So, like, give Donald Trump his account back, and
we have another
potentially
insurrection. Okay.
and potentially, Twitter is a lost company. It's like Netflix. It operates at a loss and hopes to get it back at some point. I think he's going to add like a monthly payment service for like having a blue check and to be able to do certain things on Twitter.
Are you an Elon Musk fan?
Who, me?
No, he's a Donald Trump fan.
Tesla's dope.
What'd you say?
So Teslas are dope. As him as a person, I don't know. I think he's altruist. I think he's trying to be altruistic, but
In the weirdest way possible.
yeah, it's easy to paint him as a villain right now. But I don't really know much.
Well, I mean, a lot of people make the point that, instead of buying Twitter for $44 million, you literally could have ended world hunger forever for half that price.
Why
So,
did you say that? There's
well, I mean, you could have ended it forever.
He looked into Twitter and he's like, I'm gonna make it profitable. So
yeah, I don't see his
thanks.
vision.
That's what we
behind
needed.
acquiring Twitter. I don't know what the big picture is. Maybe
I
it's
think
important,
the
maybe
big
it's not
picture is what
important.
you say. I think it's the freedom of speech, but I think
I think it was
when
a
it
troll.
comes to freedom of speech, it needs to be regulated like capitalism. So
Well, it is regulated, actually. The Supreme Court ruled on this long ago that there is a limit to freedom of speech. And it usually comes when you start to cause physical harm through your speech. Like I believe the exact ruling was you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. It's not protected speech. I mean, you take another country, let's say, I don't know, Germany, for instance. I happen to know firsthand that Germany has freedom of speech, but the hate speech is not allowed. And
they learn
flying. The funny thing is, you can fly a swastika here in America, but you can't do it in Germany. If you fly a swastika in Germany, you go to jail.
Did y'all see the guy that went to a bar in a Nazi costume?
Oh yeah, I posted
for Halloween?
Who cares?
Post it
It's
on my
Halloween.
story ASAP.
It's no, you can't be whatever. Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's the
you can go as
scariest
Hitler if you
person
want.
can run into.
I don't buy into
Somebody that's willing to go out like that.
I don't buy into
take
the
their
costume
guns.
shit.
Take their guns.
I don't I don't buy into the costume shit. I really don't. It's Halloween. The whole point of it is to be outrageous, and the whole point of it is to
blackface 2023. I support you.
I mean, I don't care if you're doing a Halloween costume and it's not directly hateful. Now, there's a limit, you know. I wouldn't say you could
shucking and driving with the blackface. That's
well, I'm saying like
don't encourage him.
I'm saying
like the
look,
big red lips.
look, instead of having the big virtue signal thing all the time about somebody who wore a sombrero or some shit like that. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Now they're going after
kind of ridiculous. It's like
the last one that I heard was you can't dress as a hobo anymore because that is derogatory to the homeless population.
Yeah,
like get the fuck out of here, man. I dressed as a hobo as a kid. You know why? Because I came from a poor family and we didn't have anything. So you just got old beat up clothes. Huh?
So you were yourself.
It's an autobiographical.
So you were yourself.
No, it's just the thing you could throw together at the last minute with no money.
I went to a Halloween party in my 20s and I was dating a guy. I was a black man and I have a bunch of white friends. And one of my white friends, just to troll me, he put on a Confederate uniform. And
they still do reenactments.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So he did a reenactment.
It affected our relationship. Yeah, but just it's insensitive. You shouldn't do that.
Fuck that. Fuck your sensitivity. Seriously, one day a year, you should be able to just get wild and nobody fucking fire you.
I mean,
no.
Say someone
absolutely
puts on a costume, not a costume, but it is technically a costume in a movie. So you have Inglourious Bastards. Half those people had to act.
That's
like
a movie. That's a different.
Right, but what's the difference? You're playing a character.
Exactly. It's make believe.
One day everyone gets to play a character, whether you want to be
make believe
or a villain.
Look, you have the freedom to do that shit, but we gonna be like.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Instead of trying to cancel all these people, just let the society decide. You know what I mean? So like if I was to walk into a bar dressed as a Klansman with like an effigy of a black man hanging from a pole or something like that,
I don't even like
nobody's gonna
that.
hang on.
I don't even like it coming out your mouth.
I respect.
Nobody's gonna stand for that is the point. But if I walk into a bar dressed as like an Indian, nobody actually gives a shit. You know what I mean?
They do.
No, they don't. You know how I know? Because there's no fucking Indians there. There's no Indians there, and I know that for sure because there's only like 40 of them left. So that's fucking.
We're talking
I don't even know which Indians you were referring to, sir. Are you talking Native Americans or are you talking Indians from India?
I was actually talking about Native Americans because famously that was one of the first ones where they were like, "That's insensitive to do that." Yeah, and you call. But there's a lot of insensitive costumes.
You know why they're called Indians? Because that's what people thought they were called when they fucking got here. Okay, let's move on. Welcome.
No, I don't want to move on. No, I got one more. I got one more because a very prolific costume for the last 5 years or so has been to dress as the Twin Towers. And it's like a 2-person comment. Yeah, where you dress as the Twin Towers with like planes going into them and stuff like that.
Wow. Too soon.
Is it? Because it's been like 21 years.
That's not cool.
Okay. I don't care. I think you should be able to dress however you want on Halloween.
You can. It's America. So in the discussion. All right. Welcome, John Cadette. He is a South Florida comic who lives in Broward County. He's been doing comedy for 6 years. And you know what? He was a contestant last week with Terry in the Florida's Funniest. Welcome, John.
Hey, hi.
And that is Jonathan Cadette. John with an H.
Kinda.
That's what you told me.
I said it with one H. It's after the T. Jonathan.
Yeah. That was confusing. I didn't catch all that. Okay.
I know. Jonathan's a hard name. Everybody gets confused.
So it's Jon.
Jonathan.
But if we call you John, it's Jon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call me John. I'm not going to hear the H.
That's the Jewish way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it is. Jon is the Jewish spelling of John.
He's
Kanye.
black. He's one of the first Israelites. Per
There you go.
Kanye
See,
West.
I'm a Kanye fan, so this whole Jew talk has to stop right now.
Okay. I used to be a Kanye fan.
Yeah. Oh, did that change your opinion of Kanye?
I just can't listen to him anymore. So
I can separate the art from the artist.
no, I won't even let him play in my space anymore.
How many people have you had to stop listening to? R. Kelly?
R.
Yay or
Kelly-
nay?
R.
Michael
Kelly-
Jackson? Yay or nay?
I don't believe
Louis
what they said
CK.
about Michael Jackson.
Yay or
What
nay?
about Michael
Louis
Jackson?
CK asked for consent.
What was that one guy, the Jewish guy who
You
made
said you
the-
don't believe that what they said about Michael Jackson?
No.
Oh, he fucked those kids, man.
Alan?
He definitely fucked those kids.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No.
It's
absolutely
crazy. He definitely had
Any,
sex with those kids.
men in their 30s
I
and
think
40s
that's
that have
slander.
sleepovers with children?
No, but I think that
Would you trust a man in his
Yeah,
30s?
who? Oh, that was planted. Who put him in the bleach bath? Was that the Illuminati?
so when did you start comedy?
I started comedy as a bucket list item when I was 29 on December 13th. So I don't know what year that was.
How old are you now?
35, so that was 6 years ago.
6 years you've been oh yeah, we said that in
Yeah,
the so you've been doing it six
We know
years.
math here on BlameGirl.
And so where did you start it?
Do you remember Marine 84?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't remember that, but
I
Terry
do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I won the money a few times. Yeah.
Marine 84 there's nothing like Marine 84 these days. I don't know a worse open mic that's ever existed in the world. But it was a bar on State Road 84. That was
Fun
at the
story. I almost
hotel.
stabbed somebody there once. It was crazy.
Was that you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was. There was a heckler that was he was drunk, he was stumbling around, and he was threatening Nico Prada. He was threatening him at the bar, and he was threatening to hit him. And I had just finished a burger, so I picked up the steak knife that was on my plate and went over to him, stood next to Nico and pointed it at him and said, "All right, whenever you're ready."
Fuck. Yep,
And then-
that's a typical night at Marine 84.
So that's
Yeah.
what got started.
That's
huh?
where I started.
Mhm.
And did you ever win the money like as Terry brought up?
No, I never stayed long enough. I always have to wake up early. I'm always the first to leave after a mic or
We'll
after a
get
show.
to why you have to wake up early in a
Yeah.
little bit. So since you've been doing comedy, what's
Yeah.
become your like favorite venue to perform at?
I mean,
Can't say the improvs.
Yeah, the fucking. I live
You can't-
15
you
minutes. I
can't
can't say the improvs.
He just said you
No, it's too
Well,
easy.
yeah.
Everybody would
can't.
say
He got
that.
it out quick. He's like the improv.
It has to be. I live 15 minutes from Dania, which has been a blessing because I can just drive over there any weekend and they'll let comics in to see shows. But other than that, honestly, back in the day, the best open mic ever was Funky Buddha. Funky Buddha.
Aha,
And that
my
was
man.
the best mic I had been to at that point, and it changed the way I looked at open mics, considering I came from Marine 84. So I was like, all right, let me drive all the way up to Boca.
Well, yeah,
And,
because Funky
like-
Buddha was an actual show.
yeah, there was
Yeah.
people that paid to get in. They all had drinks. There was
I never got Funky
velvet
Buddha.
background. There was a proper stage, proper
You-
sound system.
I
Proper
hate that I
host.
never got Funky Buddha.
Oh my goodness.
You got Mad Robot. That's close enough.
I loved Mad
Yeah.
Robot. I loved it.
Well, Mad Robot was Funky Buddha, but it just wasn't the same. Like Funky Buddha was packed every week. There's
Everyone.
always 50 or 60 people there. They were always listening to the show, respectful.
Yeah, it was is the best open mic I think you could ever go to. No offense, Spanx, but
So
Yeah.
has your comedy, since you've been doing it, have you traveled to other states or just county? Like where have you gone doing comedy?
so funny you bring that up. December, I'm going to Ohio. That will be my first out of state
Okay.
comedy venture. I was lucky enough to have Rodney Badger invite me. He's always kind of looked out for me, like and putting me on his shows. He got me on Miami Improv Stage
Mhm.
for Laughing Badger last December. Oh, it's also another December show. Seems like every December he hits me up. He's just he's
Like a
very
gift.
kind with his words.
You start to notice patterns
Yeah.
as the years. go
Every
by.
December he hits me up to do a big show that changes my life. So he invited me to go to Ohio for a full weekend of shows. That's gonna be next month. that's really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've gone just all up and down South Florida as far as
Yeah,
West
step
Palm.
out the comment.
No, because
Are you from here?
I am from here.
Oh,
I'm
okay, okay. Okay.
from Hollywood and moved to Davie. Like that's a
A lot
joke
of
that I
peop-
have in my act, but that's real.
A lot of people that are not from here, like when they go back, like me, when I go back home,
Oh,
I'll do it.
Yeah, because
So
you have.
I've
some
done
roots
open
over there.
mics. I haven't been booked, but I hope that next time I go to Austin, I've made enough connections. I can get booked
Yeah.
next time. But that's cool to be able to like go with another comic and do shows out of the state. I haven't
Yeah.
had that pleasure.
In Ohio of all places. In December, it's gonna be fucking ice cold. I'm gonna freeze.
Maybe
my
Dave
ass off.
Chappelle will see you. You never know.
Oh,
So
shit. Yeah.
okay, so where have you what are your favorite moment? Like what's your favorite moment slash proudest moment since you've been doing comedy?
It's kind of anytime I get to a new venue or anytime somebody sees me and invites me to do a show, that always means a lot to me. Like Rodney did that last year. I got to do Miami Improv.
Mhm.
Brittany Brave invited me to do a guest spot at one of the shows she hosts down in Miami. Um, uh, Dexter gave me like a compliment after a show that we did also last year before he
R.I.P.
passed.
Dexter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and cool little anecdote. Dexter was one of the first stand-up comics I've ever seen live. I saw a show with Gary Owens at FIU when I was like 14. My sisters were going to FIU and he was doing, I guess, a college tour.
Mhm.
And Dexter opened for Gary Owen. And I hadn't known until I was on a show with Dexter and my sister saw the flyer and she was like, I used to date that guy. He's the reason why we went to that comedy show because I was dating Dexter Owen. She was dating Dexter Owen. She was dating Dexter Angry.
That's so crazy.
And yeah, so my sister may or may not have banged Dexter Angry. And that's a cool little story.
I remember Dexter.
So wait a second. So instead of banging your way to the top, you let your sister do it for you. Is that
Oh,
what it
yeah.
is? All right.
Yeah.
I,
I have a very unique last name and we were on a show together. So I have a feeling he knew before I did that he used to bang my
he's like,
sister.
oh, I fucked her sister.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean, like remember Dexter Angry from the BET days when
Oh,
he
yeah?
was on Comic View and shit like that. So that was
Yeah.
interesting to meet him in person. So, what's
I
been
think
your-
it's interesting that this podcast is going to be on his Facebook page, which means his sister is definitely going to hear this.
No, we talked about it. She's the one that told me, she's like, and she's married now, so she didn't say it in like the family group chat. She on the side, she was like, yeah, I used to yeah,
Hang out with him.
talking to his
have
mic.
fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to hang.
Oh my god. Okay, so what's been your biggest challenge doing comedy?
So while doing comedy I've been doing comedy about 6 years. Over the last like maybe 3.5 years, I developed anxiety. Like
Yeah.
I have like a sweat anxiety that I can't stop from happening. I'll just sweat profusely whenever or before I get on stage. After I get on stage, it's whatever. But for hours leading up to any comedy show or even open mics, I sweat a disproportionate amount. And it didn't happen when I started comedy. It didn't happen the first 2 years. It happened like 3.5 years ago. It just started happening. And
Interesting.
I just have to deal with that.
So sweating is your biggest challenge?
Yeah, no, my anxiety. to
That's
get on
it.
stage.
That's
That-
an
I can't remember.
That's
my-
real, though. I
when
feel
I get on
that.
stage. I can't remember. I have like really real social anxiety, but it doesn't show when I'm on stage, so no one believes me.
yeah.
No one fucking believes me at all. It
No,
fucking
you
sucks.
you have never seen shook in my since I
It-
met you. So, all right.
No,
so,
I identify with this though, because I used to sweat a lot when I first started. And so I had to figure out ways to
No, I see.
I
deal with it.
grew
Yeah.
into it. It's so dumb. I have
Yeah.
more experience now, and I'm probably obviously better than I was when I started, but I'm more anxious now. I guess maybe the stages are bigger.
I think it seems like
Maybe
all the
that's what-
comedians are pretty anxious. And I know I can be anxious just
Right.
before going up, but
But after that first joke hits,
mhm.
Yeah, that first laugh really sets it
Oh,
in place.
after that, it's good.
that first hearty laugh, and you're just okay. So tell us, who is John? Where are you from? You got family?
John is one of 7 children from his father. I have
Okay.
5 sisters. That's way too many sisters.
That's a lot
You
of
didn't know
kids.
how to pull out? What do you mean 7
No.
children? Jeez.
My dad had 5 kids and got remarried and had 2 more. And he's 72 years old.
Okay, he old. That's why.
72 years old with a 17-year-old daughter. So figure that shit out. From here,
Sound like everybody wanted to have children.
he's Haitian. Haitians don't pull out. I grew up in Hollywood, which is kind of weird. I'm trying to talk about it now more in my comedy because Hollywood's like kind of a poor city, but it's like equally like white, Hispanic, and black, but it's like poor people. And then I don't know. I've had weird racist moments in Hollywood and Davie. Like my first girlfriend I went over, or my first best friend, I went over his house and his grandpa, or I went to his grandpa's house for dinner, and I was the first black person he's ever had dinner with in his house. And he said that during dinner. And I was like, I'm honored. He was like super German. His last name was Built Thing. So
I'm
like
getting a real.
Was he a Nazi?
he was like,
I'm feeling like a real Get Out vibe there. Man, like you're the first black man I've ever had over here. I
yeah.
voted for Obama.
And I respected the shit out of him because that's like progressive for him, like super progressive.
No,
for him
it's
to
hard
be
because they're like
a gray-haired.
they're
German
like
guy.
they're like cracking that wall that they have
He was
up.
like, I
but
guess my grandkids have black friends now, and I was just like,
What do you
"Yeah."
do for work?
I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer with FPL.
Nice.
Yeah, so if they ever find out that I do comedy, I'll be fired immediately.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know. I hear my jokes are kind of dark, kind of racy.
I don't think so. That would be crazy if they fired you for being a comic. But okay.
I don't know.
I just know I knew you were an engineer, but I didn't know it was with FPL. It's a good job. It's a
Yeah,
good job.
I need a job to
All
pay
right.
the bills.
Do you have any other projects or like podcasts? Anything else going on?
No, I work full time and I
Yeah,
do
it sounds
comedy
like you
as
like-
much as I fucking can because
Mhm.
it's, I mean, keeps us alive. I mean, it's the only thing that I love in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. It can always find a little joke to cheer you up, right?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to play the blame game?
But yeah, tell me the blame game. I don't know. how to
You
play
tell
the
me
game.
the blame
Oh
game.
fuck!
You
I didn't study this part.
say the N-word.
Oh, okay.
Who's to blame? You're a little light skinned for that. Let me just say that.
Okay.
What?
I have a whole philosophy behind this, and it exists in my joke, which is funny.
That's why I'm doing it.
Okay, so the joke, I can say it or not tell it. It's
If
somebody
you want to
told me-
tell it. This is your time.
It's very easy to offend people. I offend people on accident sometimes. Somebody told me I shouldn't be using the N-word. I said, what, am I not black enough to say nigga? And my mom's like, no, we're just in church right now. So that joke means a lot to me because I'm half Dominican, half Haitian. My mom's Dominican, my dad's Haitian. Both born there,
Ooh.
and then I was born in Rhode Island. I was born here.
Contentious mix.
Yeah. So my dad's super black, and my mom's like a light-skinned Dominican.
So she don't even think she black.
No, it's not at all. So it's weird being Haitian Dominican in America because kind of my family got here in the 80s, and we just kind of inherited the black history of America. And me walking around, you can't really tell that I'm Dominican or Haitian. I just look kind of like a mixed African American.
You look
So
American.
I
yeah.
inherit all the
I was
history of
surprised
it.
to find out you were Haitian when you
Yeah.
just said that a second ago. But
Yeah.
we are in Florida. And
Hey,
you're-
look. We all decided at some point that if you're black, you can say the N-word, and if you're not, you can't. That's it. And somehow
This
Hispanics
is
get
not
away with
even
it.
an argument for you, white man. This is an argument amongst black folks.
I have my
And like I
justification.
said,
Well, I'm giving you the
Well,
opinion
light
of the
skin
other
white man-
84%.
Here's my justification that means a lot to me. All right. So my dad was telling me stories about having our family in New York in the 80s, and he drove a cab. He was working at a bank, and he lost his job at the bank because he was getting just like pushed out racially. Like New York in the 80s was very racist, and he was just Haitian, so he doesn't really understand, America's
Racism. Yeah.
drama. I mean, you understand it, but when it's getting put on you for something that you're almost don't even have a part of, it's kind of hard. And he talks about it very sheepishly, like very like he was a victim of a lot of racism in the 80s. And it made him lose his job in New York. It pushed him, he couldn't buy a house because they weren't giving out like housing loans to Black people in the 80s. So he had to go to Providence, Rhode Island to rent. Still couldn't buy a house in Rhode Island. And they found out that they were giving out home loans to people in South Florida, to Black people in South Florida. So that's the reason why I live in South Florida, is because we got racially pushed down here.
Wow.
And because like I do have like some kind of like, oh, I'm Dominican, I'm Haitian. I'm like, no, I've been directly affected by the racism that created this word. And
So
if I'm
yeah, so
viewed
you're
as that-
American at that
so
point, right?
yeah, so now I feel it in that sense. So I'm like, I'm gonna own it, and I'll say it whenever I feel the need to say it, and I try to make light of it. So, am I dark enough to say the N word? If to me, yeah, I'm a direct result of it. So that's my explanation.
Okay. I like it. Do you have
I think
any-
that's the racism of Black people is coming out here where it's
no
like,
one cares
oh,
what you think, white man.
how light skinned are
No one
you?
cares. Okay.
Okay, I'm super light skinned, but I'm from Memphis, so I consider myself Black as any man.
Okay, stop it. Stop.
All right.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to promote? And what's your social media handles in case anyone wants to follow you?
Anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, that'd be the best thing to do. A lot of people trying to book, look at Instagram followers. I think I'm pretty funny, but I never really pushed my social media. I started doing it this year. So it's at John Cadette, John _ Cadette, JON _ CADET, like space cadet.
Okay.
So yeah, that would mean a
You
lot.
got any shows coming up people can catch you at?
I'll be at Villain Theater, opening for Allison McCoy this Friday at 8:30. And I post all the other shows that I do on Instagram. I'll put a flyer, I'll put it in my stories. I'll remind you, if you follow me, you'll find all my other shows.
All right. Check him out. I guess it is time for Terry Wayne's words for white people or whoever this week. I don't know.
This week it's words for ghouls and ghosts. Since it's Halloween, we're doing ghouls and ghosts. For anybody who's out there worried about Halloween candy, I don't know if you remember back in the day, but I do. Every parent was worried about somebody putting razors into their candy bars. Right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Everybody was worried about somebody putting razors into candy bars and then giving them out to kids. You know how many times that happened? It's fucking zero. That's how many times that happened. And it's the same thing they're doing now with fentanyl and weed gummies and edibles and all that shit. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Every year I fucking post it. Nobody gives away drugs for free. Nobody. Nobody gives away drugs for free. Okay? So stop fucking worrying about your stupid kids. Okay? Nobody's giving away expensive fentanyl or weed gummies to your stupid kids. Okay? They paid a lot of money for that and they're worth a lot of money. They're not giving away to your dumb kids. The only time that's ever happened was one year a parent said that somebody gave their kid weed edibles, and it turns out it was the parents that accidentally gave their kids weed edibles, and they just blamed it. They just blamed it on some fucking Halloween trick-or-treater bullshit to get out of it, and they were later caught. So enough with that shit, man. Literally every year it's like, what are they going to put in your kids' candy? You should be more worried about what they're putting in your kid's head. I don't know if you've been on Twitter lately, but it's pretty fucking crazy out there right now. Because either kids are super woke to the point where I just want to kick them in the face, or they're saying things like, we should build a wall. That's a good idea to keep people out, you know? Like, stop worrying about what goes in their baskets and start worrying about what goes in their ears. It's way more dangerous.
All right. That was very silly,
I like
Terry.
it. I like
Very
it a lot.
silly.
That's the Halloween version, ghouls and goblins. Yeah.
All right. All right, that'll do it. That'll do it. John, thank you for joining us. Terry, you got anything coming up this week?
I do. I'll be at Tavolino's Pizzeria in Port St. Lucie on Thursday night at 7:30 with Perry Sack. Excellent pizza if you're around and you want to come out. And I used to own a pizza restaurant, and I'm saying that's excellent pizza. So,
I mean,
mhm.
All right, I'm gonna be at What's Your Problem Thursdays. So it's at 8 o'clock. It's on Thursday. Follow me, which you probably do if you're watching this at all. And you'll find the details. All right. John, what's your next thing?
Villain Theater this Friday.
This Friday.
8:30.
All right.
I don't know the date.
All right. This Friday,
Miami,
time.
excellent venue.
8:30.
Early show. All right. That's the better show. Okay. Thanks for joining us. And until